Good evening. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Kareem. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests and parents. Welcome to the GEMS American Academy graduation ceremony. My name is Catherine Banner, and I'm GAA's secondary school principal, and we're delighted to have you here this evening in this beautiful venue to celebrate the class of 2019. I ask that at this time you silence your cell phones, please, and please join me in welcoming GAA's esteemed faculty. Let's have a round of applause for our faculty. Thank you. And now I would ask you to please stand as we welcome the young ladies and gentlemen you have all come together to celebrate tonight, our 5th graduating class and 4th IB graduating cohort. May I present to you the class of 2019. please remain standing for the playing of the national anthems of the United Arab Emirates, to be followed by the national anthem of the United States of America. And the GAA Band. It is now my pleasure to call to the podium one of our very own Islamic teachers, Mr. Mohammed Gofran Zabrik, to read from the Holy Quran. I remind you that it is considered disrespectful to applaud at the end of the reading.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات كانت لهم جنات الفردوس نزلا خالدين فيها لا يبغون عنها حولا. قل لو كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي لنفد البحر قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي ولو جئنا بمثله مددا. قل إنما أنا بشر مثلكم يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فمن كان يرجو لقاء ربه فليعمل عملا صالحا ولا يشرك بعبادة ربه أحدا. صدق الله العظيم. مبارك يا شباب.
Thank you, Gofran. That was lovely. I would like to begin this evening's ceremony by thanking those who have made tonight even possible. Graduates, I'd like you to look around at this room full of people who are here to celebrate you but who have also been there supporting and encouraging you in every way imaginable since the day you were born. Your parents. I'd like to also recognize and once again thank our GAA faculty for all they have done to prepare and inspire our students. They have inspired you, held you to high expectations, loved you, and most important, they have never given up on you. They have given you one of the greatest gifts you shall ever receive and that no one can ever take from you, your education. I'd like to recognize those folks who have worked particularly closely with our seniors this year. Our IB coordinator, Donald Caldwell, who has brought strength and inspiration to the GAA IB diploma program and has worked tirelessly helping you through the often difficult times of the path of IB. I'd like to recognize our senior counselors, Katie LaChere and Kim Bradford, our extraordinary counselors who have guided, supported, and encouraged each of you to find your paths beyond high school. Please join me also in recognizing and thanking our secondary vice principals, Mr. Kane Klinkhammer and Mr. Peter Thorpe, who show up each and every day with a heart for kids that guides all that they do. Thank you also to our head of school, Dr. Kathy Miner, who encourages us all to be better and stronger as we reach for excellence each day. The senior year is a complex year with many activities and events designed especially for our seniors, and it takes considerable planning and a lot of support. This year's senior sponsors have gone above and beyond all year to ensure the perfect senior year for you guys. I think you would agree, seniors, that these are truly special ladies. Kristen Agostini, Kelly Jameson, Sarah Body, and Katie LaChere. Thank you for giving so generously of your time, talent, and love for our kids. This year has been a year of continuing to establish GAA traditions that will last long after we are all gone. And one of those is the beginning of the cum laude honor system to recognize all of our graduates who worked so hard to achieve at the highest levels. In years past, we have only recognized two top students, a valedictorian and a salutatorian, and often there are many other students who are only as much as 1/100th of a point away from these same distinctions. So tonight, having moved to the cum laude system, we will recognize 17 students who have reached these highest levels based on their stellar GPAs. I would like to recognize those students who, after 4 years, have achieved these honors. First, will those students who have reached our highest level, summa cum laude, meaning with highest honor, please stand and remain standing. Will those students who have achieved magna cum laude, meaning with great honor, please stand and remain standing. Graduate cum laude with honor, please stand. Thank you. This year, we also established a chapter of the National Honor Society whereby students are selected based on outstanding scholarship, service, leadership, and character. And the National Science Honor Society, which recognizes students who not only show academic excellence, but also have a desire to encourage scientific inquiry and critical thinking amongst their peers. Students from both of these honor societies are wearing the blue and silver cords this evening. Will members of the National Honor Society and members of the Science National Honor Society please stand at this time? Finally, we would like to recognize our 32 IB diploma candidates. International Baccalaureate is recognized as the most rigorous curriculum in the world. These students have completed exams in 6 subject areas: theory of knowledge, CAS, and extended essay requirements. Will these students please stand? Seniors, tonight is all about you, and I want you to know that I am so proud of all of your accomplishments, hard work, and dedication. You have come to the end of 12 years of formal education, well prepared to take on the next part of your life's journey. Someone asked me last week how I would describe the class of 2019, and my immediate response was that they are the most kind graduating class that I've ever had. This was evident again last night at the iftar as I saw so many of you support each other and the grace among you. Your speeches reflected the bonds that you have created with one another and the gratitude you have for your school experience. You truly are an outstanding group of young men and women. My wish for you is that you will carry that most important attribute of kindness with you as you head off into the next phase of your life. And now I have the pleasure of introducing a young man who represents all that is good in your senior class, our Laude speaker. This student was nominated by our honor students and selected by his peers. We are extremely proud of this young man, as I'm sure his parents, Iram and Mateen, are as well. Ibrahim embodies the qualities we wish for all of our students. He is inquisitive, thoughtful, caring about others, vivacious. He has a very large personality. And maybe most importantly, he is present. This is going to serve him well when he becomes a human rights lawyer. He has impacted our school and our classmates, and he is a friend to all. Ibrahim will be attending University of Kent this fall. Please join me in welcoming Jim's American Academy's first ever Laude speaker, Ibrahim Mateen Uzbek.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, students and faculty. The theme of my speech today revolves around the concept of home. I never knew how much a school could act as so much more than just a place for education. It is a place of growth, introspection, and community. This feeling of community is something that I find great solace in having, as all human beings have the intrinsic want to belong. Thanks, Ms. Betsy. Truth be told, I haven't necessarily felt like I belong to a certain place or country. I know I can't speak for everyone, but I feel like this feeling is often shared amongst international students. Being a Pakistani boy with an Irish accent would cause a reasonable amount of confusion in anyone. I can't call Pakistan my home because although I was born there, I never actually lived there. And it feels almost impossible to call a place you have never lived home. With Ireland, there's not one place to call home either, having moved around so often. When I moved to the Middle East and began my first international school experience, I realized that this country is, for many people, only a stop in their journey to or from home. For me, I had no place that felt like home to go back to. My mindset, therefore, had been that this country would not necessarily be my home, as I too would eventually leave. Moving around was never a difficult thing for me, and if anything, it allowed me to make new friends, which in turn built my confidence. Our frequent moves introduced me to new people and new opinions, but these moves also came with their fair share of drawbacks. As a child, I never thought much of it, but every time I left these places, it was another place that I could not call home. There were people that I had met and formed connections with that I had to leave behind merely a year or two later. In Ireland, people remain in cities and towns for generations. I envied that. I envied how they had become such an ingrained part of that community and set on proper roots that would span lifetimes. Not having a sense of home, a place to feel truly rooted, is intimidating and daunting, especially as a kid. During times where people around you speak about heading back home to see their family and friends, you can't quite relate because you can only look on, look forward. However, my time here at GAA has changed that perception and concept of home for me. I began to realize that a home wasn't necessarily a place or a country. It was the people I met along the way. The environment created at this school, its diversity, the open-mindedness, its culture of kindness, created an environment unlike any other I had ever experienced. I met teachers who saw us as more than just students to teach, but rather as people to better. They spend that extra time with you after class. They recognize that you're having a terrible day, and over the course of this past year, have prepared us for what is to come. And for once, I met friends who were facing the same dilemma, the need for a sense of home. Friends who cared not only for me, but for their entire community. To all these great people, whether I've known you for the full 5 years I've been here, or a few fleeting moments, I would like to thank you for your companionship. It was through these friendships that I began to understand that roots do not necessarily need to be planted within one place, but rather they can be found within people. My teachers and my friends, the community that allowed me to become a part of it. All of this is what I had been looking for, and all of this is what I can now proudly call my home. Thank you.
Thank you, Raheem. That was wonderful. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the head of GEMS American Academy, Abu Dhabi, Dr. Catherine Miner. Assalamu alaikum, Alan Bekom Jamian. Welcome everyone as we honor our 5th graduating class. The mission and vision of GEMS American Academy is to inspire, to innovate, and challenge, and care for each student in an inclusive and kind community, and to provide a rigorous, relevant, and holistic experience that celebrates cultural diversity and respects global perspectives. With a student population representing 94 nationalities speaking 40 languages, we have the perfect opportunity at GAA to teach our students how to think, how to create, how to respect, care for each other, and to enable them to solve problems of tomorrow and contribute to a stronger and kinder global community. We celebrate tonight that our seniors have internalized these important values and made them their own. They represent our mission and vision. These young people have the confidence and the conviction needed to take action about things that matter to them. They each are prepared and ready to start their own life journey, impact their communities wherever they may go, and help to serve others. Seniors, we know you have cultivated important skills and values for a successful future, but just remember, when you pack for the journey ahead, you bring the confidence and the conviction along with you, and you believe in yourselves. The late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, peace be upon him, founding father of the UAE, said, "The education of our people is a great wealth. We are proud of our educated nation because through knowledge and science we will open horizons of a glorious future." So let the glorious future begin. Shukran ala hosn estamayakum. Thank you.
Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Each senior class chooses a delegate speaker to deliver an address during graduation ceremony. This speaker is a teacher with whom they have made strong bonds over the year, someone who they have turned to in their time of need, a laugh, or a shoulder to cry on. This year, the class of 2019 has chosen 2 such teachers. Our first speaker has created one of the most welcoming spaces in all of our school. It is not just her warm and inviting classroom, however, that draws students in. She is a calming presence students know they can rely on when in need. Please allow me to introduce Miss Kathy Shoulders.
alaikum, ahlan wa sahlan, bil hadur al karim. Good evening, graduates, family, friends, faculty, and administration. Graduates, I stand here before you this evening, both honored and humbled, to address you on one of the most important days of your life, your last day as a high school student. For a handful of you here on stage tonight, we share something in common. We started our journey at GEMS American Academy together 7 years ago. Ahmed Kadir, Fernando Rangel, Julia Sellinger, Kazuma Nakamura, Omar Islim, Rauda Al-Hajeri, Shania Diaz, and Sheikh Mohammed Al-Nahyan. You were students in my 6th grade English class all those years ago. And Kazuma, Omar, Mohammed, and Rauda, we've come full circle together as I had the great pleasure to be your teacher once again this year. During my 7 years here at GAA, I have taught English for every grade level, 6 through 12. In addition to English, I've taught electives like creative writing, SAT prep, academic writing, and even a social studies elective called Current Issues. And in teaching all of these grade levels and electives, I discovered that out of the 98 graduates of the class of 2019, I have taught 88 of you at least once, and many of you 5 or 6 times. I count myself lucky to be in the unique position to have been able to watch you grow into amazing young women and men. I've witnessed you struggle with your beliefs and contemplate your place and purpose in the world. I've seen you discover your strengths and develop your passions. I've seen hearts broken, friendships ebb and flow, and the course of future plans determined and set. So when I learned that you had selected me to speak at your graduation, my heart was full. I felt deeply loved and respected, but I also felt a profound obligation to you. You see, by asking me to speak at your graduation, you placed me in a position of power. And we all know that with power comes great responsibility. So please know that I have not for 1 second taken this honor lightly. As an English teacher, it's difficult to ignore the overwhelming pressure that comes with delivering a speech to your students, colleagues, bosses, and a few hundred close family members and friends. Would you be expecting an eloquently written address filled with figurative language and literary allusions? Might you be anticipating the use of sophisticated vocabulary, or maybe even a short poem penned in your honor? Believe me, I was a bit tortured by these wonderings until I stopped myself and thought about the advice I would give to any one of you if you came to me with the same problem. I would tell you to simply say what you mean. And then I was reminded of a poem I've taught in 9th grade, Theme for English B by Langston Hughes. The poem depicts a black young adult who is attempting to figure out what is true in his life via an English assignment. As the only black man in his college English class, the speaker is not sure whether to take on the persona of a typical English student, regardless of race, or to stay true to his heritage and culture. The poem begins with a quote from the speaker's English instructor. The instructor said, "Go home and write a page tonight, and let that page come out of you. Then it will be true." So that's just what I did. I let the pages that I wrote come out of me, and I stopped worrying about all the other things and focused on what is true. And what I know to be true is that though the role of a teacher is to leave her mark on her students, the truth is that all of you here tonight have left an indelible mark on me. So here we are together one last time, student and teacher. But rather than delivering one last lesson, I want to share the lessons you've taught me over the past 7 years. Lesson number 1. You taught me that it is important to practice patience. After 15 years of teaching exclusively in high schools, I was asked to teach English to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders when I arrived here at GAA. I have to be perfectly honest with you. When I learned that I would be teaching 6th graders, I was absolutely terrified. I had no idea what to expect from a group of wide-eyed, eager 11-year-olds. That first year teaching 6th grade was a master class in patience. By the second day of school, I realized how dependent you were on me for everything. I had to show you how to organize your binder, fill out your agenda, answer a question by raising your hand instead of shouting out. I had to teach you to work in groups, keep your backpack neat and orderly, manage your time, annotate a text, construct a paragraph, and the list went on and on. I was responsible for laying the crucial foundation on which you would build not only your literacy, but also your habits as lifelong learners. This required patience on my part. I had to learn how to slow down, listen carefully, take deep breaths, explain things simply, only to explain them again, and again, and again. Graduates, thank you for teaching me the importance of practicing patience. Lesson number 2, hugs are essential. Over the years, I've given out many hugs to those of you who might have been having a bad day or a bad week, for that matter. Some were feeling the building stress of IB deadlines and exams, while others may have just suffered a disappointment, a breakup, or a loss. There were times when you approached me in tears, looking for some comfort and reassurance. Other times I could sense that you were not yourself, that something was troubling you. When I asked you how things were going, you trusted me enough to share your burden, and I did my best to help you through. There were also times when you recognized that I needed a hug and were more than willing to offer one to me. I also noticed you offering hugs to your friends and peers, and this always made my heart smile. Hugs may seem like small gestures, but they are so much more than that. As a matter of fact, a 20-second hug releases the bonding hormone and neurotransmitter oxytocin, which is a natural antidepressant. Hugs communicate empathy, and they let the receiver know that, hey, I understand you exactly. Empathy is a fundamental aspect of humanity, and it allows us to see another's situation as if it were our own. Darian Renee Beale has an excellent explanation of empathy. She says that empathy is the tool that will let some fly higher than others. It allows for strong and trusting foundations of relationships. It allows you to be a supportive follower. It allows you to be an effective leader, as to understand how to inspire those around you. It even allows you to increase the quality of the relationships held closest to you. Graduates, thank you for teaching me about the importance of empathy and the healing power of a good, strong hug. Lesson number 3, a simple cup of coffee or tea can be a very big deal. About 5 years ago, I set up a coffee and tea station in my classroom. Never in a million years could I have imagined the enthusiastic response this would have. You love the seemingly adult idea of being able to make coffee and tea and drink it while focused on your classwork. There were times some of you dropped in during breaks between classes and asked for tea to soothe the sore throat or coffee to stay awake for an afternoon study session. You brought in your personal mugs and even took turns donating items to keep the station stocked. You made sure that mugs were washed, the kettle filled, and area kept clean. Soon after the coffee and tea station came the bean bags, and then the classroom library, and then the snack drawer. Together we created something called community and turned my classroom into a place where all who entered felt welcomed and valued. I am proud to say that my classroom was not the only place where you created community. You did this as a class with events such as movie night, powder puff, beach barbecues, spirit week, senior walks, senior iftar, senior letters, and the many absolutely delicious senior potlucks. Graduates, thank you for teaching me about the importance of building community. Lesson number 4, resilience should be cultivated and celebrated. Many of you here on stage tonight have struggled with the loss of family members and close friends during your time at GAA. Some of your parents have been gravely ill, causing you to face uncertainty, and to take on added responsibilities. Some of your parents had to leave the country for extended periods of time for work, and some parents even work and live in countries other than the UAE. Many of you battled illness. Some suffered terrible accidents, and others underwent surgeries, both major and minor. Rather than letting difficulties of failure overcome you and drain your resolve, you found a way to rise from the ashes. Despite all of these challenges, you persevered, and you didn't just get by, you flourished, you achieved, and you did so with grace. You are a shining example of what it means to be resilient. You built positive beliefs in your abilities, you nurtured yourself, you established strong social networks, and you set solid goals. As testimony to your resilience, you are here tonight poised to receive your high school diploma and start the next chapter in your life. Graduates, thank you for teaching me that resilience should be cultivated and celebrated. And the final lesson, lesson number 5, there is strength in diversity. I know I've told many of you individually and others collectively that the leaders of the world could learn a great deal from all of you. You are a graduating class of 98 students representing over 38 countries, speaking more than 22 languages, and practicing 6 religions. Rather than seeing your diversity as weakness, you used it as strength. What impresses me most about you as a class, and I am not the only person who feels this way, is the fact that you are so open-minded and accepting of differences. And rather than mock them, you celebrate them. You bring out the best in one another and are each other's greatest cheerleaders. My wish is that you never forget the amazing relationships you fostered and the close friendships you forged. During your life, you will cross paths with people who are not as accepting of differences as you are. My hope is that you will lead by example and show others what it means to be a true citizen of the world. Graduates, thank you for teaching me that there is strength in diversity. Now, graduates, I've made a point of thanking you for all the lessons you have taught me, but I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the people who were instrumental in making these lessons possible, your parents and your family. After all, they are the ones who taught you first. So, mom and dad, walidi, waladati, brothers and sisters, ekwani, akaweti, grandparents, jaddi, jaddati, thank you. Shukran.
Amen.
Congratulations, class of 2019, and thank you once again for this tremendous honor. I will remember this evening for the rest of my life. I love you dearly, and I'm so incredibly proud of each and every one of you. I wish you all health, happiness, and success in the world. Congratulations, Mabruk, Minnaja, Ilanaja, Inshallah.
Good evening. Our next teacher has been at GAA for 6 years. He has taught members of the senior class since their middle school days and has taught me far more than how to structure the perfect essay. At this time, I would like to welcome Mr. Todd Gonzalez.
Good evening. Thank you to Kathy Scholas for those wonderful words. Thank you to all of you who have gathered here today to recognize the achievements of this remarkable group of young men and women. And thank you to the class of 2019 for giving me the opportunity to say a few words about who I've found you to be and who I believe you can become. This is the first group in my teaching career that I've had the opportunity to follow through such an extended period in their lives. When I met many of the students on stage tonight, they were boys and girls adjusting to the challenges and obstacles of middle school. One thing I remember distinctly about my arrival in the fall of 2013 was how truly fortunate I felt to be teaching a group of students who were so generous, caring, welcoming, and fun. A common measure of if one is in the right profession is whether or not that person wakes up in the morning eager to go to their job, whether they're happy to be there or just happy to get another day done. For 6 years now, these students have consistently made my experience as an educator inspiring and exciting, and I will always be grateful to them for that. This class has been a particularly impressive group. Their collective achievement is difficult to understate and could be measured by grades, honors and awards, test scores, college acceptances, or any number of other data points which typically distinguish one set of students from another. However, there's another element of success that is a much more suitable measure of this class's achievement, while remaining to be, in my opinion, an entirely better gauge of accomplishment: their character. The ultimate intent of this enterprise we call education is to create mature, aware, active, and involved members of communities. There's no better embodiment of those characteristics than the students sitting before you here today. They're intelligent and innovative, scholarly and successful, but they're also sensitive and kind, considerate and principled, passionate and loyal. One thing I've always told these students on the many occasions when we had the opportunity to have a guest in our classroom to observe our lessons was that the person always began our follow-up discussion by commenting on how impressed he or she was with the elevated nature of our conversations, the maturity level of the students, and their ability to tackle real-world adult issues in a thoughtful and sophisticated manner. This is what outsiders saw when they dropped in on our daily interactions, but I can affirm all of those realities. Further still, what I saw and learned from years of daily connection to these young people went beyond that. I got to know who these students truly are through the way they face challenges and overcome obstacles, but also in the way they treat the people around them. These are the true measure of a person's characters. These are the true measures of a person's character. And I'm thankful to this group for teaching me the value of compassion, humor, and dignity in shaping how we are defined by both ourselves and those around us. This speaks to who these people are, and it also tells us a lot about the people they will become. Graduates, as you move forward in your lives, always remember that your dreams and actions are inseparable from each other. The magnitude of your dreams will determine the extent of the goals you set for yourself. Those goals, in turn, will shape your actions. Let your actions constantly be an expression of your hopes for yourself and what you want from your life. And let your accomplishments serve as reminders of a relentless pursuit of the dreams that you have for yourself and all those around you. We all have multiple responsibilities in our lives. One is the fundamental responsibility we have to ourselves. We owe ourselves the recognition of our positive role in the world and the validation that our happiness is deserved. We owe ourselves the truth and awareness that our dreams and aspirations are justified and attainable. In this knowledge, we must celebrate ourselves as people worthy of recognition and our achievements as significant and worthwhile. Taking the time to reflect on the positivity that you individually bring to the world will affirm the value of your unique character and renew your resolve to do good. Do this often. There are also times when we lose sight of our goals and when our actions reflect values and expectations outside of our own understandings of who we are and who we want to be. In times like these, we also owe ourselves the drive and determination to realign our actions with our goals as we pursue our dreams, which sometimes feels like an insurmountable task, but is nonetheless necessary. We owe ourselves the honesty to know when the gap between who we are and who we want to be becomes too large, and that there is nobody who can correct our course but ourselves. You owe yourself a high standard because you deserve the totality of your dreams. Recognize the connection between the two. The people around us are connected to our experiences and our lives in ways that are sometimes hard for us to comprehend. The role our families and friends play in shaping the events in our lives is fundamental. So it is important to recognize their influence on our well-being and be sure to surround ourselves with healthy sources of support. Assessing our family's roles in supporting us, knowing the part our friends play in making our lives positive, and knowing how other influential figures in our lives have helped us grow gives us perspective on how we have gotten to where we are and how we can continue to develop and progress. Understand that your community is an even broader manifestation of each of these component parts, and you are also a piece of the puzzle, alongside all those who have been there in support of your progress. The impact you bring to those around you defines the society in which you will live, so inspire those around you. This is something you can do to change the world in which you live. When you motivate action in other people, the strength of your values and force of your moral character speaks through them. Use the courage that lives inside you to bring change to your community and improve your world. Do what is right even when it is the most difficult route. Be prepared to stand alone for what you believe in and to rise above those who may doubt or try to sway you from your moral compass. When all is said and done, you will have to answer only to yourself and measure what you know you can be against the actions that you have taken. Every step of your journey from here forward will determine that judgment. And I know that sometimes you will surprise even yourself by exceeding your own expectations. Also, want to know. Curiosity is fundamental to the advancement of your knowledge and your experiences in life. Maintain a conviction to explore new things and to learn more about the world. The deeper your resolve to discover new things, the richer your experiences and understanding of the world around you will be. Know that there is always more to know and time to know it. Have the motivation to control your own life. Sometimes it will feel like people or circumstances around you are determining your direction. But there's nobody and nothing that can think for you, act for you, or live your life for you. From this moment on, you are the ones responsible for your own decisions as adults, and you are the ones who will live the results of those decisions. So make your choice for what you want from life and fight every day to get it. You can choose to be better. You can choose to live fuller. And you can choose to make this the start of the rest of your story. Many of you may feel like this is the end of something big, and you're right. But it is also the beginning of everything else. Choose to start the next chapter with the drive and determination to pursue the dreams that carried you here today and will continue to guide you throughout your journey. Now, take a moment to recognize today what you have already achieved. Doesn't that feel nice? That sense of pride and achievement will carry you forward. Take time in the days, weeks, and months ahead to reassess your path and be honest about how you can best direct your efforts towards your goals and dreams. Understand how the people around you, your family, your friends, your teachers, and mentors are invested deeply in your happiness, and repay them with your dedication to that end. Know that your community and society will benefit from your role, so use it for good in changing the world around you. Stand up for what is right, be curious and never stop learning, and shape your life into what you dream for it to be. I believe in all of you. Thank you for being who you are, and thank you for becoming everything you will become. Congratulations to the class of 2019, and may the path to your dreams hold the happiness that you all deserve. At this time, it is with great pleasure that I introduce our senior class president, Ms. Yasmin Talal.
Good evening, everyone. One of the primary goals of the senior class this year was to leave GAA a better place than when we started. For our gift, we wanted to provide something that both students and teachers would benefit from for the years to come. We have worked with Dr. Miner to purchase new flexible seating for outside of the secondary library. We hope that students and teachers alike will be able to utilize this space to continue to build a positive and productive learning environment for everyone, as they have in the past, as Mr. Gonzalez and Ms. Scholas have already shown. Thank you.
Each year, the seniors of GAA vote for one of their fellow classmates to represent them. Students carefully choose and historically pick a student who has a charisma, a strong sense of humor, charm, endearment to represent them. This year's speaker has all of these qualities and more. Please help me welcome Adam Binu.
Good evening, everyone. Friends, families, and faculty, you all look absolutely wonderful tonight. Senior year has been a long journey, and I think I can say on behalf of everyone behind me, it's about time we got here. We've overcome an incredible amount to get to this very moment. And now, it's time for us to celebrate. The last 2 years of high school are arguably the most arduous for any student, especially as someone who took full IB. At the start, we thought it would be a walk in the park, but with every EE, IA, IOC, FOA, and TOK assignment, and any other 2 to 3 letter acronym, we would realize it would become the bane of our existence and the cause for mass mental deterioration. The saying, work hard, then play hard, should have been carefully applied. But I don't think our Netflix watch histories reflected that sentiment quite so well. TOK was probably one of the most interesting yet perplexing courses I've ever taken. For those of you who don't know what TOK is, its acronym stands for Theory of Knowledge, and explores how we know, what we know, why do we know how we know, and with what we know, does it hold any value? If I lost you there, now you know how I felt 2 years ago, and how I still feel. The reason I bring this up is that I believe that to go the distance and to stay persistent, we must seek out something that intrinsically motivates us. And how we know what that is and what it means to us is important. I believe that the most important factor is happiness. Today is a huge milestone in all of our lives when we get to start making monumental decisions. Some will be favorable, and some might require a call home that starts with, "Mom and Dad, please don't freak out." But in the end of the day, you should always ensure that the end goal is happiness, and maybe a decent source of income. So the big question is, how do we know what makes us happy? Happiness comes from doing the things you love with the people that you love. It's a feeling of belonging that makes us feel that we are part of something bigger. Throughout my high school experience, my friends and my teachers became that source of happiness, and they gave me that sense of belonging. I think of days where we would complain for hours about deadlines and handing things in, where those hours could have been spent to actually complete those assignments. I think of days where me and my friends would just spend a considerable amount of time just laughing uncontrollably, sometimes at absolutely nothing, and at other times at Hussein's take on a British accent. I think of times where I would feel on top of the world, like after performing in the GAA talent show with my boys Ibra, Jean, Matt, and Azal. Shout out to Raihan and Nick for being our stage managers. I still think we should have won first place, by the way. Sorry, not sorry. I think of days where we'd all be so tired we could barely hold our heads up in class. Yes, I'm looking at you, Harry and Jake. I think of the days we'd pop into the studio to record some freestyles, attempting to become the new hottest artist of 2019. Although I'm sure Sam would argue that he's already claimed that position. I think of all the different senior events, like the tea party, and the events that followed after, that turned out so well. Shout out to Sania Wasi for being the life of the party. And to Yasmin, Shania, Julia, Victoria, Basima, and Layla for making senior year so memorable. I have learned a lot from every single one of you, no matter how loose our acquaintance may have been. I'd like to thank all parents. You nurtured us, and you always tried to look out for us. And in a way, you made this happen. But somehow you always forgot to knock before entering. Couldn't hurt. I'd like to thank teachers, like Miss Soraya, for being my school mom and always giving me tea when I was on -2 hours of sleep. Miss Sammy for being a friend and always having a calculator on hand. Mr. Livesey for being an absolute legend and always inspiring me. Ms. Kirkos for teaching me how to structure paragraphs in a funny-sounding acronym. Mr. Thompson for sharing knowledge through the most random discussions we would have. Shout out to Tabula Rasa. Ms. Lashir for being the coolest cat on the block. Ms. Sholis and Mr. Gonzalez for watching us grow. Mr. Caldwell for never forgetting to ask us if we have any questions about the notice to candidates displayed in the school. And finally, Mr. Christophe for being so chill and tolerating my extremely intimidating knowledge of physics. I'd like to thank you, all of you seniors, for making my high school experience what it was. The experiences we've had, whether good or bad, were necessary to bring us to who and what we are today. Seniors, the road that lies ahead of us resembles Schrodinger's cat, paved with uncertainty. And when faced with uncertainty, we must retaliate with positivity and persistence in order to achieve success. In the future, we will continually face uncertainty, but the one thing that remains constant, that we are in control of, are the things that make us happy. So find what makes you happy, whether it be someone or something, and hold on to it. Try new things, make mistakes, get a job, get another job after realizing the other one only looked fun in movies. Keep good people around you at all times, and most importantly, appreciate the support of your families and loved ones. Thank you for getting me through these past 4 years with nothing but laughter and smiles. I love you 3000.
Okay, well, we've had some speeches this evening, and now the time is upon us. The moment you've all been waiting for. I would like to ask Ms. Lashir and Ms. Body to join me here at the podium and invite Dr. Miner and Mr. Klinghammer and Mr. Caldwell to the stage for the presentation of diplomas. I think you've sat long enough, guys. It is with great pride that we award these young men and women with their high school diplomas. So at this time, if you will join me on the stage.
First row, please rise. Abdullah Al-Hamali.
Sheikh Mohammed bin Isa Al Nahyan.
Andrea Alejandra Irigoyen.
Allison Karlik.
Regina Choi.
Kirtana Krishnaswamy.
Lachlan John Morrison.
Joanna Rodriguez Suarez Baraka.
John Moon.
Yom El Said.
Paula Paredes Vergara.
Priyanka Cannon.
Israel Wesley.
Layla Masalha.
Arnav Das.
Jean-Andre Austria.
Ioana Osanidi.
Ibrahim Uzbek.
Yasmin Khalid Taha Talat.
Adam Dino. Please be seated, first row.
Second row, please rise. Noor Abdul Mutagali.
Nicholas Herman.
Faith Brianne Hooper.
Pantira Nina Brisbane.
Precious Adigolo.
Hesham Kamal Adam Ahmed Ali.
Ina Choi.
Muhammad Rehan Fadilla.
Rhoda Al-Mahebi.
Basma Abbas.
Kiara Hernandez Montijo.
Mariam Saeed
Aisha Al-Mahari.
Julia Brown.
Uzair Hashim.
Meichi Fu.
Amber David.
Ludovica Maki. Second row, please be seated.
Third row, please rise. Jun Young Ho.
Julia Selinger.
Victoria Barch Hawkinson.
Obaid Abdullah Al-Kabesi.
Shelby Fletcher.
Rodrigo Martinez Arroyo Cerro.
Hamid Mohammed Al-Naqvi.
Martina Ragusa.
Gabriel Salinas Torres.
Majid Al-Mansouri.
Kyle Varma.
Carmen Hamdan.
Hyun Ho Park.
Shania Diaz.
Yuan Wang.
Ashlyn Olsen.
Samir Wasi.
Matthew Moye.
Lawan Abu Al-Fadl.
Alvina Ashraf. Please be seated, third row.
Fourth row, please rise. Rhoda Al-Hajri.
Victoria J. Pleasureau.
Kazuma Nakamura.
Nicholas Chipman.
Emma Kuljanic.
Hajji.
Yasmina Shawki.
Mariana Haddad.
Nicole Omanji.
Saif Tariq Muhammad Saif Al-Zaabi.
Maurice Handy.
Sam Al-Zudi.
Noor Mohammed.
Seng Ud Jung.
Anya Sehetleitner.
Hussein Dawas.
Matthew Kulaga.
Iman Azus.
Ali Al-Atar.
Please be seated, fourth row.
Fifth row, please rise. Kim Vredenbrecht.
Naja Bauer.
Ahmed Kadir.
Anthea Genevieve Mayer.
Connor Mark Curry.
Ali Mohammed Siddiqui.
Abdul Rahim Khan.
Lambertus Ector.
Gaston Lamarche.
Noureddin Mohammed Honeini.
Yusuf Abu
Fernando Barber de Chagas Laura Rangel.
Ali Benzati.
Ayush Shavla.
Grayson Heath.
Syed Hassan.
June Hyuk Lee.
Hassan Abdullah Zarouk. Fifth row, will you please be seated? This evening, the traditional turning of the tassels will be done by another of our Laude graduates. This student possesses unparalleled work ethic, compassion, and leadership. Over her high school years, she has shown herself to be a driving force for impacting lasting change. I'd now like to welcome Miss Iono Orfanidi for the turning of the tassels, as well as Miss Banner for the presentation of graduates immediately following.
Graduates, please stand. And please remain standing after the turning of the tassels for Ms. Banner's presentation of the graduates. Friends, please join me in turning your tassel from right to left.
Friends and family, as the secondary school principal and on behalf of Dr. Miner, GEMS, the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, and the Council of International Schools, I hereby certify that these students have fulfilled all of the requirements to earn their high school class of 2019. It is my great pleasure to declare you graduates of GEMS American Academy, Abu Dhabi. You may now